Today's guest is the radiant Nicole, a true citizen of the world. Born in Romania, raised in Spain, educated in Sweden, and now rooted in the magical Marbella. Nicole's journey has taken her from a small village and a Catholic school with monks to the world of startups, global corporations, and digital marketing. But it was through navigating postpartum depression that she discovered a deeper calling, one that led her to Bali, to yoga, and eventually to leading wellness in the workplace. Today, Nicole seamlessly blends business with inner healing as a wellness visionary, yoga teacher, and transformational event curator. This episode is a soulful conversation about resilience, reinvention, and creating from the heart. Enjoy.
And then when this crash started, that I was at work, I wanted to be at home. I was at home, I wanted to be at work. The bubble inside my head and the mental unwellness started to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was basically going into a deeper depression that actually met a climax when I stopped breastfeeding. So I got prescribed antidepressants, but 3 weeks after the prescription, my doctor called me and he was like, Nicole, I see that you haven't been buying your medicines. Do you really want to get well? And I want to get well, but I am like investigating the ways to get well. I don't want to go into the medicines because there was something like a voice inside my head that was saying that there are other ways.
As you said, we are tuning, face tuning. People do all kind of surgery and Botox and all of that. How do you feel about that? And are you, let's say, against it or pro, or what are your views?
I think
this episode is sponsored by Wellness by Boho, a holistic sanctuary at Boho Club offering yoga, energy therapies, and next generation treatments for mind, body, and soul. Hello, everyone. Here we are in the beautiful setting in Boho and sitting here with Nicole. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you, Boho, for having us in this beautiful space. Look at this
stunning pergola where they do
quite fresh air. And
they do yoga and breath work here in the mornings, which I haven't been yet, but I know that also you offer it here.
Yes. So I'm here like a couple of times per week, and in general, there are classes here at the Boho Club in like every morning and sometimes in the afternoons. And there is also the Wednesday wellness concept that is quite popular with different practitioners, different practices.
Yeah, I'm really proud to say that Boho is also one of the sponsors for Marbella Life now. And I think it's a beautiful concept that they are doing here and developing here, and more of the wellness side and the yoga and all the biohacking, which is incredible. So really exciting to be here, and also then to talk to you, because I feel like I know a little bit about you. I've been to your studio holistic house that you had before, and I've been to a few of your classes. I've seen you around in the wellness area, but then how much to actually know about you? And when I read a little bit about your bio and your CV, which you've done, I was really amazed. So I don't even know where to start. Let's start from the beginning. Just introduce yourself. Tell me where you're from, a little bit about your childhood or upbringing.
So I'm born in Romania, and I grew up in north of Spain. I went to school in a Catholic setup, in a Catholic school in Zaragoza. And thereafter I start traveling. So I'm grown into this multicultural culture, I would say. I'm grown by really hard worker parents that they went through communism, and they learned that life can be tough at times, that you need to gather all these forces to make it in life. So I'm grown with the culture of working hard. Later on in life, I learned that working hard isn't the goal for me, for my own life, but that's a little bit my setup, how I started, like how I was programmed a little bit to work hard, to never disappoint, to be that kind of good girl, to go for my dreams, which helped me in my journey, obviously, but also push me to certain extremes, like almost into burnouts and
working
later,
too hard. Yeah.
Exactly.
So where is the limit of
the limit, that kind of balance, right? So it's really important to, and this is what yoga is all about, right? We'll talk more about yoga later, but yoga is all about knowing who you actually are and coming back to that instead of just letting others to decide who you are and how you should be and what you should work with. So I ended up following a little bit the path of my mother. So my mother worked in a bank and she was really guiding both me and my brother. I have an older brother. She was guiding us towards economics, towards banking, for example. And both me and my brother, we realized that that was actually a part of our programming, that we went that way. And I studied so much for becoming that person that my mom decided for me to be. And then later on in life, I got to realize what I really wanted and what I really thrive doing and what I am best at as well, because I am quite an active person. For an active person to sit 8 hours on a desk, it can be really frustrating for the body. So it can bring up a lot of different bubbles, almost like you are restricting yourself into a little spot that you are not kind of fitting in there, you know? It's like you want to go out of there. So I start training in the middle of the day. That was my, when I was working 8 hours per day in corporates.
So it was our outlet to release energy and be more
Yeah.
active. But how did you end up in Zaragoza? Why Zaragoza? Did your parents just suddenly made the move, and why such a shift?
Actually, the first time I came to Spain, I was living in a small village outside Zaragoza. And in there, I went to a school that was also Catholic, but it was with the monks. So it was very traditional school, traditional Spanish and traditional religious. We would start in the morning with 15 minutes of praying in the morning.
Meditation in a way.
Yeah, in meditation in a way. Yeah, later on, I realized that that was actually the morning meditation. And I just didn't see myself in that little setup of a village. So my parents decided to move to the next closest city, and that was Zaragoza. My father was working for building the railway in Renfe, so the fast train, the AVE. So he was working and traveling a lot and putting the hard work. He was doing a lot of extra hours. So basically, I have been almost all the time with my mom and my brother. My brother went to the university later on, and I was studying in Zaragoza until second year of my career, my degree, university degree.
But why did they move to Spain in the first place? Was it just to get away from the communism, or?
The communism was not anymore in that time. So they moved. Basically, my father is that's something that I got from him, that ambition. He's a really ambitious guy. And he kind of made his decisions in life so that he could grow within his limitations, you know? He comes from a very simple family in Romania. They were 5 brothers. He never got the attention of the parents because there were 5 of them and they were working in the land. So, but within his limitations, both emotional and economical, he wanted to grow, and he saw he had someone, you know, the typical someone that was living here, his older brother that was living in Spain, and then he realized that maybe I could try going there and see the opportunities for me. He came here, he started working in construction. That was what was accessible and available for him at that moment. And then he, being such an ambitious and very smart person, he learned the language quite quick. And then he was like, I want to work what I used to work in Romania with. I want to drive trains. And they were like, forget it. You are never going to do it. You are a foreigner. You've been here 1 year. You are never going to do it. We were then back in Romania. We weren't the whole family together. He was here alone. But he studied. He got his exams. He got into what he wanted to do, his career, and in a very quick time. So that's really, like, I'm really grateful, and I honor that ambition that he had, because I got that ambition from him. And when he realized that the stability in here was something that he wouldn't give up for going back to Romania, we are talking about economical stability, then he made the reagrupation of the family, reagrupación familiar, and then we came. So my mom had to live or her life in there. It was a very critical situation for her in that moment. But of course, we are just looking for all the positive things. We are looking to move. I already grew up with the culture of international, so I started to learn French when I was 4 years, and we grew up in that kind of learning languages and opening up the doors for internationality. And for us, this was just the first step out from our little town in Romania. So we saw it as a positive thing. And then in here, I adapted very quickly. My brother as well. My brother lives in Tenerife right now, and my parents moved back to Romania last year. My father was here 35 years, and then he moved back to Romania, which was a big thing for him.
Going back to the roots.
Yeah, going back to the roots, yeah. But they are coming here, having me, having my brother, so they have this connection. And also they are healthy, in healthy conditions, and they can travel and move, and yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because nowadays it's so normal that, of course, we can travel, we can move, but back in those days it wasn't easy, and it
No.
was also expensive even to travel.
Yeah.
To travel and then to move your whole family. It's a big risk.
So the first time I was 1 year without seeing my father, the first time he moved, the tickets were really expensive back then. And also the culture that we had wasn't that you should spend. He wanted to save the money, so he wouldn't go back and forward just to see us. He wanted to sacrifice himself. That was his culture. To sacrifice himself and build up the money and buy an apartment in Romania, like a second home, and then bought an apartment in here. And he built up his life with the resources that he had, both studies and
that's very admirable.
So from a worker, point
because
of view.
a lot of people are very happy with very little, which is fine, and then they never grow or expand. But actually, we are capable of so much more if we just push ourselves a little bit. Of course, where is the limit? You don't want to work too hard and then forget that we have to live as well. But I think it's very nice to, like you said, you sacrifice a little bit for the good. For the future and
I
for
think
the
we are
family
better nowadays, right, to find that limit, because back in the days, and especially for my father or my parents that grew up in communism, they see only the limits don't really exist. It's only work and save. So that's the mentality, right? But this kind of generation that we are also investing in our well-being, like mentally, we are more conscious, and we do know when enough it's enough, especially, and the body tells us, right, when enough it's enough.
But so how did you go then from working in that kind of business, and what exactly did you study, and going from there to wellness? How did that shift happen?
So I studied business administration and later on international business, because all the 5 languages that I talk. And I did my master's in Sweden, and I traveled a little bit through United States. I studied in there. I studied in Finland. So I kind of got in love with the international part. And since then, I only worked for international companies that were also. I worked for startups that grew up. And I also work for big corporations. So I've seen the journey of growth from many lifestyle companies. And I worked in corporates in international marketing, specifically in digital marketing and CRM. I worked for 8 years. And then when we moved here to Spain, I did a conscious decision of not limiting myself behind the computer. I could have been working, and I loved the company that I was working for. And I had very flexible time. So I had the luck in life to have good people that surrounded me, both in private and in work setups. And that time I had the opportunity to work remote for that company, being here in Spain, but working remote. And it would have been actually very comfortable, because I wouldn't have needed to be in the economical instability, when you are an entrepreneur and you have this big economical instability. But I also knew that I would limit myself by doing that, and I wouldn't come to discover Marbella in the fullest, right? Because I have a son, he's 8 years old, and I would be working the time that he is in school, and afterwards I would be with the family, with my husband and my son. And I realized that perhaps I knew that I would be here that time for a limited time because we were trying it out, and I didn't want to limit myself to those hours, you know, and behind the computer. So I made an active decision and a conscious decision to say, okay, I'm taking this risk. It's always a risk when you leave something that you love, because I loved doing the job for this company in Stockholm, and also the economical stability. You kind of live that, and then you start in a shaky surroundings. You don't know the Marbella community. You don't know the wellness ground in here. You don't know anything, and then you start from nothing. But I believe when you have a goal in mind and you act from your heart, the path opens, and then you connect to the right people to open up new horizons for that stage, or I can call it chapter of life, right? So my chapter in corporate was closed for a period, and then I fully dedicated myself to wellness, and now I'm kind of in a hybrid mode. So I'm both doing corporate as a consultant and the wellness, which match me really good because I like to develop concepts of companies, to bring marketing campaigns, PR campaigns to life at the same time as I enjoy sharing my knowledge in yoga and meditation and creating wellness events.
But how did you get to yoga and wellness when you were in that kind of, let's say, digital and computer and office kind of environment?
Honestly, as one of my teachers says, you don't really do the change until it is too painful to be in the situation. In the situation where we are to not change. So I had my son, and I went into a postpartum depression. And conditioned by my mentality back in the days, I went quite quick back to work. So I separated my maternity leave with my husband. He started to be like pappaledig in Swedish, to take his paternity leave when our son was 9 months. So I stayed 9 months home, and then I went back. And then I had to travel for conferences. He would come with me because I was breastfeeding. I had to travel for meetings. So we were like back and forward,
With
and my husband
family
coming with me all the time, the whole family. And I realized that while I was at work, I wanted to be at home with my son. And while I was with my son, I wanted to do things with my computer to work. So all that crashed, and my postpartum depression that was low because I was very stressed about the well-being of the kid, and I was very sensitive to different to all small things around the little baby. And also I couldn't leave my baby with anyone. So I was in such a possession. 3 years I couldn't leave my son with any, like, to sleep over the night. Exactly, to sleep over the night with the parents of my husband. So I had such an unhealthy relationship to the kid, almost possessive. And then when this crash started, that I was at work, I wanted to be at home. I was at home, I wanted to be at work. The bubble inside my head and the mental unwellness started to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was basically going into a deeper depression that actually met a climax when I stopped breastfeeding. So 2 weeks after stopping breastfeeding, during the breastfeeding, I was like infused with all these happy hormones and oxytocin, the proximity of the kid. And then I stopped breastfeeding, and all of those hormones dropped down. My depression just got plummeted to the sky. Yeah. So I went to the hospital one day. I couldn't, basically, I was packing our bags to go to the summer house with my husband and the little baby and my sister-in-law. And I realized that I completely, like, I couldn't do anything. I didn't know. It was quite a routine to go to the countryside during the weekends. But for me, that routine became like a blackout. Like, I didn't know what to pack. I didn't know what to do. And then my husband was like, this is not okay. So I lay myself down on the ground and I didn't know where to take myself,
Like
basically.
like a breakdown, actually,
Exactly.
because you've been pushing.
It was a breakdown.
You're pushing yourself too far and not kind of addressing or knowing what even to do. And then your
No, I
body...
didn't have any stop. Like the days were just going on, and I didn't realize how bad I was feeling inside. So from that moment when I was laying down in our bedroom, and actually I wanted to put myself under the bed, but the bed didn't have enough space for me to fit in there. And my husband just asked for help. So my sister-in-law took our son and we went to the psychiatry. And I got identified with medium-high depression. And I'm really grateful that I was in Sweden at that time, and I got offered so much help. So from work, I had a psychologist. The psychologist also advised me not to stop working. So I was working at 60% just because I needed those kind of, activation in my mind. And if I would have exactly brain stimulation, if I would have stopped, I would have been going deeper into depression. I got prescribed antidepressants, but 3 weeks after the prescription, my doctor called me and he was like, Nicole, I see that you haven't been buying your medicines. Do you really want to get well? And I want to get well, but I am like investigating the ways to get well. I don't want to go into the medicines because there was something like a voice inside my head that was saying that there are other ways. So I am a very active person. I used to run quite a lot. I used to train for half marathons. So the activities, I didn't stop being active. So I did sports just to stimulate myself and bring the endorphins into my days. And then I lean more, it's when I discovered yoga in a deeper way. Because for me, yoga was a power yoga class at the gym. But in that situation where I was completely depressed and crying everywhere. I was crying at work in the bathrooms. I was crying at home. I was crying waiting for the public transport. I was quite bad. And I couldn't remember my light. And I remember one time my brother said, Nicole, I tell you that one day you will walk into a room and you are going to shine bright as you always did, or even more if you go through this. And he's very spiritual, my brother. So he asked me to do this practice in the morning, to smile to myself in the morning.
Yeah,
and
to trick your brain.
Exactly, I didn't realize that was actually a really smart, because seeing myself smiling was encouraging myself to smile more throughout the day. But it was a team of and a work of different people. It was psychiatrists, it was psychologists, it was yoga teachers. I discovered my mentor in Bali, where I started to meditate, which was actually my path to have this curiosity. What is it more that I can learn? And then I went to Bali and I did my, the typical story. I did my yoga teacher training.
No, I mean, everyone has such different stories. But,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, Bali has gotten quite famous of like people trying to search for something or just going to find themselves there,
Yeah.
I haven't been to Bali, so I have no idea how it is like there.
Bali, it's you breathe around the surroundings is devotion. Like people are more in the now, so I really encourage you to go to Bali.
I think it's a very magical place, you
Yeah.
know. Of course, it's a little bit of a hype, but I do feel like it's something
is.
there.
It is.
And
Well,
I think it's
so Marbella.
Yeah, yeah. And my sister actually went for a trip also alone to Bali, and she said it was life-changing. So
it is. If you are open for it, you can change, you can transform. So for me, that trip to Bali, I went there, by the way, with my son and my husband, so it was the whole package.
So you were still not letting them
No, I was still in that state of mind that I couldn't let go of my son, so I took the whole family to Bali.
But what do you think that was, or probably your psychologist, or
attachment?
Yeah, just trying to control everything. Are you quite like, because probably you seem very organized if you're working in the business and the CRM, all the systems, you have to be quite organized and controlling of things. So was it like part of trying to just I feel it. I think as when you become a mom, I was also quite possessive of my child. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want any stranger to hold my baby, touch my baby, take my baby. I think it is very hard, and it is also the fact that I can't control what they're doing, what they're saying, so. Of course, at one point you need to let it go, but it is it is like a control thing.
So there are several factors in here that I realized. There is the control factor that you said, that I just wanted to know exactly how his day is, what he's eating. So I had this ambition of cooking the food by myself. I was very naive because
like me also with the first, and then when I had the second, I was like, okay.
I only have one, so I don't know how the journey would have been with the second one, but the first one, it's a heavy road.
You're trying to just be the best and do the best and give the best, and it's all great, but until you actually learn that we also ourselves, we need to nurture ourselves as persons. And I feel like it's a really reoccurring theme with all the new moms, that we are just trying to give so much of ourselves that we forget about ourselves.
To fill up your cup.
Yeah. And it sounds like a cliche, and maybe men are like, oh, whatever, but it is like that. We're really so giving everything, that we would give our clothes and everything just for,
it comes
just
with
to
the
make
mother
sure
instinct.
That
it comes with the mother instinct.
But
so control is in one side, and then attachment. Like if you are attached to someone, when the situations or life takes that attachment away from you, you suffer. And what we are meant to do as our mechanism is to fight against suffering. So I was fighting against my own suffering. I didn't want to suffer not being with my son. So I decided to always carry him with me.
Instead
basically
of going
in the hotel rooms. And I was studying in Bali. I was studying from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoons. And my mentor, my yoga mentor, was calling my husband the super daddy, because he was it. Like, we have a very hyperactive kid, and he likes to move, and he would never, with 2 years old, he was 2 years that time, he would be everywhere.
Yeah,
so you need
stage.
to have like 4 eyes on him to actually keep him safe. And the days are long, from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening.
I don't know how you managed to study at the same time.
No.
It's crazy. So how did all of that change? When did you learn to a little bit let go, or how did Bali change you?
It's a journey. So Bali changed me in the way that I got the tools, right? You get the tools, you get a little glimpse of how it feels to have peace inside your body. You are there for 5 weeks. You get the three first weeks. I remember that in the first, we started with the retreat in silence, and my manager in Sweden, he told me, "You are not gonna manage to be in silence." He said, "Forget about it." And honestly, it was really hard to be in silence with myself, but that made that I could go deep into. So when I started the course, I could go and experience deeper experiences straight away. If I wouldn't have started in silence to actually calm and shut off all the stimulations in my life that I used to have. So basically I went from a Christmas party, corporate Christmas party, to the airport.
Wow.
So that was how crazy life I used to have. And then with the kid, with the husband, with the thousands of luggages with us, because I wasn't so conscious of traveling light. So when I came from Bali, it was all coming back with some tools and knowing what your homework is. But then the homework started. So I started to incorporate morning practices. I started to incorporate more breaks. I started to go to the bathroom and do like a breathing exercise in between meetings. I started to take, instead of coffee, grab a cup of tea in the afternoon instead of stimulating myself on coffee. And then teaching. I had a clear goal that I wanted to teach, and that came from the passion that I had from my teacher. So I saw that passion, and I just wanted to transmit that passion here, right, in my communities. So I started to teach at our office. I introduced Friday yoga, and we would sit a little bit, like 15 minutes after the yoga. We would come 1 hour earlier. We would finish by 9 o'clock, and we would have a little. So our CEO was really open to wellness, and she really encouraged this. We bought the mats, we prepared the
so
office.
nice.
It was so nice, yeah. So I'm really grateful for having started in such a, you start in your comfortable zone because it was my colleagues. Then COVID came.
Oh.
And right after, I started teaching online for my colleagues and working online from home. But being at home made me have more time for my practice. So actually, COVID kind of helped me to go faster into my wellness journey. And then I started being open to teach in different places. I made a collaboration with Marriott in Stockholm, with the Hotel Marriott, and I started teaching for their wellness center. And all that at the same time as I was working full time for this company in the city center in Stockholm.
Oh my God! So you still don't slow down. So you're still working plus yoga.
But then when I came to Marbella, I decided that that it's time to do things a little bit different. And then I've been here now for almost 4 years. And at first I came without knowing basically anyone in any kind of situation.
Why did you come to Marbella in the first place? Was it work or?
So, we are an international family. And there are also, in that specific moment of time, there were a lot of Swedish people moving to Marbella, especially after COVID. And my husband had some friends. They were also my friends. I also worked with them before. And they were moving here. And we looked a little bit around. We went also to Alicante, checked a little bit the area. We realized that Marbella was the area for young families, international. It was also a period when the entrepreneurs were coming here, more nomads or remote workers were coming here to do their professional work in Marbella, but working for a company somewhere else. So somehow this felt really good environment, a mix of cultures, and then it wouldn't be a big step for a Swedish husband and a Swedish kid to come to Spain. If I would have taken them to Zaragoza, it would have been a really
culture
huge
shock
change. Yes. So this was a soft change for us, I would say, even though it's always big. Like when you change countries, it's always a big, and you don't know many people.
Yeah,
but we knew some Swedish people, but we didn't know.
But that's the beauty here, because everyone is kind of from somewhere. That's why it's very easy to integrate. And like you said, if you're going to any other place other than Marbella, I think in Spain, maybe, of course, Madrid, they have their international communities, but it's still so much more Spanish, and you feel a little bit, you are like an outsider. Whereas here, everyone really welcomes you with open arms because we're all from somewhere. So I feel
also Marbella is small.
Yeah,
Madrid it's big.
Exactly.
Barcelona big.
I always call it the village. I love my village. Marbella village.
Marbella, at the end of the day, it's a small village. International small village.
Yeah. Because I have some of my relatives in Estonia, so they always think like maybe Marbella, that is like a town or some kind of, that we have kind of center. Yes, which we do. But I think they don't realize that actually we're just like little villages by the coast, like little village by village. So like Marbella, San Pedro, Guadalmina, like thing. So in that way, we don't have these skyscrapers. We don't have this town city feeling, but it's just like beach, mountains, village, church, one maybe mall, tiny one, So we really, this is something that I don't think you realize until you come here, that we don't have this huge center or a huge town. Malaga is a little bit more like that, and we have all of that there. But I still feel like even Malaga, it feels such a nice, cozy town or cozy city. It's not like a city.
I think Malaga brings that big city feeling, but with the quality of life of a small village. I think it has the perfect size. And,
me too. And then Marbella is just like little tiny cute village by the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's great for
families. But at the same time, you
families.
see that it's a lot of entrepreneurial culture.
Yeah, definitely. So, but I think,
Wellness
like you
culture.
said, after COVID, it really shifted and changed, and so many interesting people and companies are opening up here and moving here
Yeah.
and running their businesses from here, because it is also an option now to work remotely and
You
all of
probably know more because you've been here for longer than me. I only know Marbella from 4 years back.
that. Yeah, but I feel like that's really when it boomed, like
Yeah.
a big change happened after COVID before as well, but like the huge jump was after COVID.
Like
Which-
growth-wise
yeah,
and
which is
prices-wise.
yeah, price-wise too, of
Yeah.
course, but a lot more opportunities again. So I feel
Yeah.
like, let's not complain. Let's find new opportunities.
Definitely.
And also
definitely.
here, I always say that yes, there is very expensive properties. There is 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 million. Yes, but we still have the 100,000 euro apartments. Just
Yeah.
drive a little bit away from Marbella. Like you said, we're not a big town. We have little villages going up to the mountains. There's still so
Yeah.
much opportunities to live a normal, simple life. That
And
if you're not a
the good
millionaire,
thing is that you don't need to drive for hours.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can have like 20 minutes, max 30 minutes drive, and
Yeah,
you are again
exactly.
in Marbella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Let's go a little bit more back to your yoga and wellness side. What does wellness mean to you? If someone says like wellness, what does wellness mean to you?
For me, wellness is more being more aware and conscious, because there is a part of wellness that we know that it's very physical. And I agree that if you don't have a physical body in good health, in good shape, you will suffer. And it will drag your mental health and emotional being. But to be well, to be in wellness with yourself, is to feel good from the inside. And you can feel good probably in one shape. You can feel good in another shape. But if you work with your mental state, that you can feel well in whatever shape you are, that's being in wellness. If you are doing something that it's well for yourself, that makes you aware of who you are, conscious of who you are, and enjoy and at ease with who you are. Because we don't normally need to change much of ourselves. We just need to change the mind, right? To be in the right spot and to work with us rather than against us. So see, when I was in corporate, wanting to be like at the office, wanting to be at home with my son, I was working against me. Like all these practices of wellness have done so that I can be good wherever I am now.
To be in the moment.
Exactly, being in the moment, being at ease where you are and with who you are in that specific moment.
But what advice would you give to, let's say, new moms, or let's say overall to women who are, let's say, juggling being a mother, being a wife, being a businesswoman, being a good friend? Like, what good advice or tip can you give to women? Or what can they do?
I think this thing with the balance, and we talk always about the work-life balance. I see all these like spinning discs that are all on top of each other, and you can spin one disc a little bit more when you need to work more. You can spin that disc a little bit more, but then you need to start spinning the disc of resting. That kind of. So maybe one day I can also work until 1 o'clock in the morning on my computer. Or I can even be on holidays and work if I have a project to deliver. But I know that the next day I want to add a little bit more awareness and consciousness in my moments with myself, with my family, so that I can balance that. And it's the same with busy moms, that they have a busy life at work and they have a busy life with the kids have so many activities nowadays, right? So we not only have our busy life, we have on top of ourselves the busy life of our kids, and we are managing their agendas because we don't have any driver to drive them around. We don't have any planner for their schedule to schedule play dates, to schedule all of that. So we are managing, they are managers, right? And when we think about that, it's okay to do all that because we can. We have superpowers as women. But it's so important that when it comes the time of the day that you can rest, you rest. You don't push through and through and through and days. You can have few days of full speed. You can have few days of slower speed. And that's where I say that it's a continuous balance. It's a continuous adjustment, right? Like it's like when you are driving a car, you can't drive just fast continuously. You need to slow down at times because otherwise you just crash. It's the same in life. And it's okay to drive fast. It's fun. It's uplifting. It's adrenaline. Sometimes we need all of that, but just remember to slow down. And that's where we don't normally. We say yes to so many things. We can help our partners. We can help our families. We can help in so many situations, but we forget that, oh my God, I haven't had the time to actually rest and slow down and allow myself one slow morning. Sometimes there are activities even in the weekends that you need to, even in the weekends, I would say, no, I need to say no to this football training this week because I just need that. It's one day, that the only day that I can see. And it's okay that he's missing a football training. So that's a little bit my mentality and my advice for mothers, because we normally say yes to so many things and try to uplift everyone from so many places and in so many areas. You try to uplift your partner in work, you try to uplift your partner in his private life, that he can do his sports and he can have, and then you also need that support. Especially if you are a mom and a woman with your own dreams and with your own hobbies. It's so important that those hobbies are also fed, because that's what brings the happiness inside of you as well, right?
Just not to forget about ourselves.
Definitely.
Because we do tend to do that. And I give, this is my advice to all the new moms or have friends who are pregnant and having children. I say, just don't be afraid to ask for help, because especially the ones who live here, as I also had children when I was here, I don't have my mother and father.
The families.
I had my sister here part-time, let's say, and my mother comes as much as she can, but we don't have the villages that we used to for the support, for the help. And I really feel like this is so hard for women now. So, and especially when you feel like you don't want to give your baby to every stranger. So, and if you don't have the families either, you're really, really going to struggle. I really struggled with this as well. So now I just tell, just get some help, even if it's one time per week, or get someone maybe to help you bring some meals, or friends maybe to help, or some kind of support, because I think the new moms, we are quite like alone with this. As much as the men try to support, there's only so much that they can do as well. So I think it's like, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Definitely,
don't be afraid to get a nanny, even if it's like for 2 hours of the day, so you can do yoga or something for yourself.
Friends and community takes a village, right, to raise a child. And
exactly.
We forget about this, especially in the Nordic countries. Being so individualistic cultures, it's a tendency to not wanting to disturb the others, and it's not disturbing. It's just being vulnerable and asking for that help for you to actually build up yourself.
But what advice would you give to your, let's say, younger self, or maybe to yourself when you were struggling with depression? What small advice would you give yourself that would have helped you or changed you, or maybe someone is going through that?
It's also get help.
Yes.
It's also get help and not be afraid of believing in your own values. So I didn't believe in antidepressants. I know that it's the quick road to recovery, but I knew that there are other ways that will empower me much more, which has been turning to be true, like yoga, meditation, they have been kind of peeling layers that I needed to leave behind and I needed to remove in order to actually see a more polished version of myself and actually stronger. And I feel lighter after all that. They say that when you feel a person that it is inspiring in that way, you know also that has been climbing mountains, right? There is always that
The struggle.
mountains brings strength and resilience. So asking for help for me, it was like a no-brainer that I would work with a psychologist. I didn't even think 1 second about it. It was so normal for me to ask for that help. It was normal to ask for help at my workplace. So you brought up something really important that we forget, especially because I said we are also taught to do everything on our own and to not disturb as much as possible the other.
Yeah. And also the others cannot also see inside of us. They don't know if we are coping or struggling or because we're always like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it's the baby. Yeah, I'm good. But actually you're thinking like, oh my God, I just need to sleep and we can't do that. And there's this million other, and the hormones and all these things that you have no idea that they're gonna affect you. And of course they affect people have different births, different experiences. We're not all the same. But again, like if you don't know and if you don't talk about it, then you cannot get the help either.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's nice that I think now we're having more awareness about it, and we have the tools, whereas if you think maybe 10 years or even 20 years, of course, there was no such, I don't think such groups. But let's say going back to the times when our parents had kids, then at least we had the kind of support from the community. So that's the thing, like you said, we're moving away from that more to individualistic worlds.
Because we also want to evolve, right? And we think that we are evolving being these modern families, that they can do everything on their own and they don't need to have the help of others. While other cultures that are more community cultures, I would also say that I grew up in Spain and I know that Spanish culture is much more of a family culture in that sense, that my
like
friends,
Italians.
yes, exactly, like my friends, they build their career in Madrid. When it was time to make family, to build a family, they moved back to Zaragoza. So
to be close to the family.
To be close to the family.
Yeah, that would be also my advice, that if you can be near the family or move some of your family here or be close to your cousins. I just met my cousin. I went back to Estonia. She lives in the States. She has 3 kids. And I was just like dreaming. Imagine how lovely it would be if you were my neighbor and our kids could play together.
Yeah.
Our lives would be easier. We would just, it gives you so much, like physically, emotionally, in every way, to have your family close by. And those bonds and having the relatives, it's something that I really, really miss in Spain.
This is actually really important because we kind of, I believe that we are in a kind of transformation, and we lived and experienced all the modern ways of living. Also, the modern ways are including also separations, and that I can do this on my own, that I can, and at some point we will see, that's a little bit my vision, that the key is to kind of go back to the roots. And I experience myself on my own skin. I haven't been to Romania maybe sometimes in 3 years, 4 years. I didn't go back. But that week that I went back, it was like so soulful. I feel my soul up so much. And the more conscious I was about myself and the more I grew in my spiritual life, the more I appreciated that. So my idea, or what I want to transmit, is that the more conscious we become, the more we would go back to actually the core. That is the roots, the family, where we actually feel at peace. That's why my parents went back to Romania after so many years in Spain. I asked them, why don't you come to Marbella? It's so nice. And my father was like, why would I? I can come and visit you.
Yes, true.
But I prefer to be there and be happy in the house that I built. And then I can travel and I have the possibilities to come whenever I want nowadays.
Because in the end, what's the thing that matters? You know, it's not the career, it's not the money, the cars, or whatever you can buy here. In the end, it's the family, the people who are around you. So yeah, family is everything in the end. So let's talk about your projects here now. I mean, you've done many things, but tell us a little bit about your projects, what you've done in Marbella, and what are you working on now? I know you have a new exciting project.
Yeah. So in Marbella, you met me at Holistic House. So I built Holistic House. That was a community of people searching well-being from the outside to the inner layers, right? So we had a lot of different activities that were barre that you loved.
I love Julio.
Dance classes. Julio was amazing.
Amazing teacher.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it was just like a beautiful, warm boutique, let's say, studio that had like a soul. I felt like it's not just, you know, like a gym or a place I train. I felt like it was very warm, welcoming. The people were so kind, and I made so many friends there. And yeah, it was just very like cozy, nice place.
It became like a little family. Like you came back there and you had fun, and you and then we had all these holistic events and practices and yoga and meditation. And with the time, I realized that Puerto Banús, where Holistic House was more a place for this kind of outer fun activities like Pilates and dance. And my passion, on the other hand, is the deeper journeys, the events that I actually do now that are more soulful, that are meant to transform at a certain point physically, but more deeply inside and connecting people. So at the moment, I'm developing a new community that is called Vibe, and we are creating events not only yoga-based, but mostly yoga-based. And the core of these events is that they are done in a very premium way. We would like to invite these, you know, small details that are uplifting the experience to another level, that you can feel that you are in a little oasis of luxury when you are in collaboration with us. And also that it goes through the tradition, but also blending the fun parts of wellness. And collaborating with different practitioners, like sound healers, and I have friends that are playing hand palm, and even DJs to do different type of classes. The goal is to have public and corporate events, and we have started with both, and it has been only 6 months rolling, and we have a really nice success, and we are creating a cool brand.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And but that's not the only thing you're working on.
No.
I know you have another project.
Yeah. Well, like a year ago, or a little bit longer than a year ago, I started a little startup with a friend of mine. And it's all about helping women into their self-care routines. So there is ancient rituals with modern luxurious products. And the first product is breast oil for massaging the breasts for the health and also aesthetic beauty of the breasts. That project, for now, I had to freeze it for personal reasons, just for the moment being. But I'm hoping that when the time will come, I'm hoping to relaunch it. But it's a beautiful feminine journey. It's exactly where all my journey started as a woman with depression, and how I learned to do all the self-care, inner and outer, for my well-being and for actually being at joy with what I do.
And as we were talking about your journey, how you've been, you know, you had the baby, and you said your husband followed you to Bali and all of that. Then how has your husband coped with everything, and how do you also maintain all the relationship that has so many struggles already, and then you have a baby and all your depression. So obviously he's been an amazing support for you, but tell me about that. Or has he come with you on that spiritual journey as well? Have you influenced him as well?
Well, the journey for him has also been very rocky. Of course, it's not easy to support a woman that is going through postpartum depression. And first of all, it was so many months that we didn't know what was happening to me. So it
You're
was
almost
so
like,
many
"What's wrong
months
with you?"
exactly, so many months of struggle without knowing why that struggle is there. So of course it has been like climbing Kilimanjaro for him as well. And at the same time, he had few projects business-wise that he was managing. So sadly, he also went into his own struggle period through a burnout. And through the journey to come back from the burnout, he discovered his own self-care practices. So he is doing stretching. I call it yoga. He is doing relaxation. I call it meditation. So he is doing he's doing practices, but just package them in another differently with another package, so that it sounds he's a statistician. So he works with numbers. For him, everything is percentages. So it's quite the opposite of me, because I'm all about feelings, emotions, and all of that. So for him, he needs relaxation and not meditation. He needs stretching and not yoga. He's in his own path as well. He has recovered from the burnout. It has been like a quite long recovery. It has been a rocky road.
But you managed to
definitely.
stick together in a nowadays world. Divorce
We
rates
are, because we have a few.
so high.
We have set few things at the beginning that was, like an international couple is never easy, because there's always culture
Differences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that foundations that we had, and also willingness to put in the work. So basically, we have been getting external help for managing our relationship and for sticking together and managing also life here in Marbella, that it's a complete different life than what we used to have in Sweden. But we have one goal together, and it is to be always, independently of what's happening, to be that rocky, steady team for our son, and that's something that it will never disappear. So with that goal in mind, we have been working to build that team even stronger.
That's so beautiful. But I think you pointed out something interesting here, and it's true. Like sometimes maybe men, or maybe the business people, they're thinking, this spiritual thing is not for me, or I'm not sure if I can meditate, or this is not for me. But how do you see it? Do you see more men coming to the yoga classes now? And we went to this beautiful event also, Elysium, Marbella Awakening. I saw so many more men there. And how do you see that shift? I see a little shift. Of course, I think it is mainly women. But I do see more men starting to be more open to it, which also, let's say, a few years ago even, you wouldn't even see men in yoga classes, really.
Yeah. No, I think men have a different type of mentality, right? Men want to do hard things. They want to feel that kind of achievement. So that's why gym is working so good for them. Just stretching a little bit and doing some movements, they don't see the point with all of that. But as we said before, and this is how we started, when you feel that kind of pain in any area of your life, it can be personal, it can be professional, like my husband, who had a burnout from working too much and dealing with a wife like me, basically. But when you face a challenge in any of your areas in life, you are like, there is something that asks you to do a change. And some of these people, they feel that there is too much stress they cannot handle. Then they come to a yoga class and they start feeling, oh, that felt good actually. And then they come on repeated times and it feels better and better for every time. And then suddenly they are in a spiritual world without them even knowing that they are going into a spiritual world. That could be one path. But the other path can be also like, today I had in the yoga studio where I give classes, there was this Ironman coming, like he's training for Ironman, and he was like, I want to do something that is hard. Like I want to do yoga, but something that is hard. And I told him, like, there is so many different practices. He wanted to do yoga because of the benefits of the stretching, the physical benefits,
side.
of course, but I also think the mental, because when you are focused, yoga is also teaching you to be single focused. When you are focused on your goals, in any goals of life, you become like a rocket towards that goal. And of course, this Ironman, he has basically he has the mental strength, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do an Ironman.
You need so much more mental strength there than physical even.
Exactly. So he has the mental strength, but he wanted to do something that is nice for the body, is nice for his muscles, but that it's still hard. So I asked him, like, why don't you go to hot yoga? Like, try a hot yoga class. It's easy poses, but it's hard because you are in a warm environment. It's also good for your muscles because they get stretched really good in the warm temperature. So why don't you come to this? So he was like, yes, I'm going to come to this. So there are different men that they start going from different reasons into the, I wouldn't say that they are coming only to yoga. That I had like the best events that I used to have at Holistic House were the breath work. And in breath work was almost 50-50. And what is the breath work giving? The breath work brings you, so the breath is the only tool that we have within our system that is capable to bring us in the present moment. So that's why they are coming. They just want not to be in their to-do list, not to be in what happened during the day, not to be in their goals that they need to have, or numbers that they need to achieve, budgets and stuff like that. They just want to be. And I guess that's why more and more people, they are leaning into spirituality without knowing that they are leaning into spirituality, you know?
Yeah, and there's a big movement of also, let's just say overall Marbella, so people are taking care of their bodies and looking good, also drinking less. So so that's another way. Let's say drinking is also like an escape of, the stressful life and all of that. So when you, let's say, don't drink and you're trying to, be more healthy, I think that's also, I think, pushing people towards other type of activities and the run clubs and all of that.
Yeah.
It's become huge.
Definitely, there was no run club when I started in here, and now
and
they are like
these conscious parties where you don't drink alcohol, and yeah, it's like I see a huge movement now, like
definitely
coming into Marbella with that, and it's great,
No, you are completely right. Yeah.
So, and I was going to ask you, do you even drink alcohol sometimes? And how do you feel about alcohol? Because there is, of course, so much alcohol and champagne and parties and all of that in Marbella. Like, don't get me wrong, like this is still a big part of Marbella. But what I'm saying, there is this new big side that is completely different, and there's no judgment. It's not saying that you do yoga, you cannot drink alcohol.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about all of that?
I do drink alcohol. I can't lie. You maybe have seen me in the parties.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I'm not sure if I've seen you drinking, not because every time I see you, we're kind of doing yoga
you weren't a Sublime last Saturday. No, I do drink alcohol, but I'm not a person that goes out that much. So I enjoy a glass of good wine. I enjoy drinking and having fun with friends, but I like to keep it in a conscious way. Like I still want to be able, like in a couple of hours, to go home and wake up next morning.
Have a blackout.
Seriously, and I don't like to have days where I'm completely tired, where I don't know what I did last night. That's something that I don't enjoy, and I don't want to feed that into my life.
But were you ever like that? Did you ever go through a party phase when you were younger, or?
Yes. I have been a party. I have been a party queen. Yes.
Because everyone's journeys are different. But me, of course, in my younger ages, I didn't actually drink a lot when I was younger. As I said, I was dancing. Actually, I was dancing. I was teaching dancing.
You're
And when you're a
conscious.
dancer, people maybe think like, oh my God, you must be a party girl. No, exactly
No.
the opposite. We're doing choreography. I can't
No,
drink. I forget my choreography. I fall down the stage. I have to be, plus you have to look like I had a six pack. I was like, not, you know, eating carrots, eating healthy food. I was not drinking. It was when I actually stopped dancing and all that. Then I was like, oh, I can finally have
relax.
a drink in the weekend, not perform every weekend. So that's when I was drinking. But to be honest, I've never been drinking excessively. I don't find I like to have the drink. But for me, like, it's not, you know, I can also be without the drink and enjoy the party without having the drink. And so, and I really like to see that change in Marbella, to have these non-alcoholic cavas now, and non-alcoholic beer and non-alcoholic this and that. I think it's great, you know, because we have the allowance here that you can drive with a little percentage, but that's not actually right. I feel like really it should not be allowed, and people are taking advantage of that. So it's really nice to see that movement.
Yeah. No, so I had my party time, especially when I was studying in university in Finland, when I was an exchange student in the United States. I was away from home. No one knew me. So I kind of lived the life in there. But that was it. Then I started working. When I worked in corporates, I had some parties, but I never went over the border. And no, I think it's nice to have a certain control over what you put in your body, and to have a certain limit, and actually to honor the body, right? Because we only got this body within to carry us throughout the whole life. We don't get to change it as we are changing cars. We don't get to do basically, nowadays with all the operations and so on, you can do a little bit tuning. But inside, it's really important how you feel. Like on the outside, you can tune a little bit, but on the inside, it's only up to you what you feed and what you put into your body. And I don't feel good. Like whenever I go through detoxes, I did like an 11-day green juice detox. I did water fasting. I have done so many like Ayurvedic detoxes. Basically, I cured all my allergies with Ayurvedic detoxes. So whenever I do all of that, my body knows what's not good. So I stay away from coffee. I stay away from alcohol during long periods of time. But then, you know, we live, as you said, we live in Marbella. You go out for dinner. It's so accessible all the time. So I think if I would be living in the Himalayas, I would be really, really healthy and and happy. But I'm living, you know, a regular life, right? I'm living a life that has a lot of temptations many times. So from time to time, yes, I think a glass of wine on a dinner or on a terrace out with friends, it's nice.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm not gonna lie. I've always said I love the spiritual side of things. I like to go for yoga, but equally I like going out with my friends and having 2 glasses of champagne. You know, it is nice. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it's true that, and I feel like especially when you become a mom, you don't drink for such a long period of time, and then your body changes, and when you have a few drinks, I already feel it the next day so much.
Oh, definitely.
That I'm like, I can't handle alcohol as much.
2 glasses of wine becomes too much.
Yeah, and then I'm like you said, I'm ruining the next day, and then I have kids to be with. I'm like, why do I drink?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's just not worth it in the end, you know. But I think that comes with time, you know. As we're younger, we can handle a lot more, and we don't have responsibilities maybe the next day. But as a mom, we wake up every day with
responsibilities. Yes.
So it's like, but that's how it is. I just like life goes through cycles and changes, and yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, like we can, and in Marbella, it's so common. Like as you said, we are tuning, face tuning. People do all kind of surgery and Botox and all of that. How do you feel about that? And are you, let's say, against it or pro, or what are your views?
I think in general, people can do whatever makes them feel good, as long as they know what they are doing to their bodies. I think it becomes as well a matter of balance, and to set certain boundaries for yourself, especially when now everything is accessible, right? It's not costing a fortune. It's not like, and knowing if you have a tendency to do this, knowing that can be becoming addictive, right? Because you also come into a certain pattern or cycle that you are never super happy with how you look, and you are always needing to fix something on your face or on your body. And in my journey with yoga, it's completely the opposite. It's like there is nothing that you need to fix. It's always remembering who you are and what you are constantly. So me having that kind of mentality, I'm always saying that I train because I like to train. If I want to put Botox on my face, I put it knowing what I'm doing, right? But going to certain extents where the faces get transformed into another type of looks and things like that, I am a little bit. I respect too much the body and my face to go into that direction, I would say.
Because you look great. I think you have great
Thank
skin
you.
and you're
Thank
glowing.
you.
So I'm sure people
Well,
want
I
to.
do take care of myself, though. I do take care of myself. And especially, I think food is what makes the most. Like what you eat, it's what you are, basically, almost.
Do you have a specific diet that you follow, or you're just trying to eat whole foods, organic?
I have a lot of conversations about the diet. I like to say that I eat healthy. And recently I started to learn how to eat more in balance with my hormones. So I am eating, yes, the diet that is supporting my hormones, which means that I eat a lot of protein, I eat meat. I know that there are many yogis that they are vegans. I never tried to be vegan even. I had maybe periods of times when I tended more towards vegetables, but I never been vegan myself. I like to train, and I know that the body feels good with protein, and so the hormones are. So I'm very hormone aware, I would say, and I'm really in tune with my cycle. So I eat a lot of vegetables, I eat a lot of protein. I kind of stay away from carbs, but if I want to have a piece of bread, I have a piece of bread sometime. If I want to bake, like yesterday I baked a banana cake for my son and his friend, I would eat that as well. I would not sit there and look at it. So I think I have a healthy relationship with food, and I eat in a balanced way, but being conscious about my cycle. And before my period, I could maybe eat a little bit more carbs because the body wants that. So I would lean more towards potatoes, more avoiding like the fast carbs. So yeah, more into complex carbs.
I think it's very true. We need to listen to our bodies because, like, as
Yeah.
women, we go through so many different cycles. So it's true, we have these cravings, but we have them for a reason because their body needs that, to
Yeah.
create the uterus lining and all that. We need different vitamins, different carbs. And so I think
Yeah.
it's important to listen to yourself. We go back to
Definitely.
listen to yourself.
Definitely.
So, but
Definitely.
like you said, as our lives are so busy, we don't even take the time to think like, okay,
To
what
eat
would I,
consciously.
what would I actually want to eat today? Because like you said, you like meat, but maybe someone doesn't like meat, but maybe it's for a reason because maybe it doesn't digest so well with you, or
Yeah,
just listen
definitely. Yeah.
and be in tune with your body. I think is the best diet advice. You
And
can
I know
you can give.
bodybuilders that are vegans, so everything is possible. It's just knowing what your body thrives with, and what you feel good with as well. Yeah.
And a quick last touch on Marbella. If you have free time, which I hope you do, you're
Yes.
really a busy mom and you're working. So where do you like to go in Marbella, or what are your favorite places to go out
To go
for
out.
lunch or dinner or for a drink? And you can just name a few, not your whole list, and then I'll list it on my website so people can visit and check.
So I like to go to healthy spots. So I like Decentralen. It's one of my favorite places. I think they have really nice food, nourishing food that suits
I
good
love
to
that
me.
place. Yeah.
And they have good coffee as well. I go to Soul in NAC in San Pedro. I think they also have food that is supporting my diet.
And lovely coffee as well.
And
I love
lovely
the
coffee, yeah, and a really nice space for working there. I also go to Bayoko, that is in Estepona.
I don't know.
So it's the old Wild. Wild
Ah,
restaurant was there.
yes.
Now it's Bayoko.
Haven't been.
They also have really great food. But then I enjoy going and eating at Nomad. I know that it's not really healthy, but it's good food. I like to have dinner at Boho Club, for example. They have fantastic food, Michelin chef, and so I have a tendency for healthy places, but from time to time on a Saturday evening, I also like to enjoy
Indulge,
myself, you know.
yeah.
I think it's always about the 80-20. If I'm 80% of the time very conscious, I would like to allow myself a margin of craziness.
Yeah, I think 80-20 is a good rule.
Yeah.
The same, like, let's say with alcohol, or, you know, like, let's try to be healthy most of the time, but a little bit of indulgence is not gonna kill us. I
No.
hope.
No.
It's gonna help our mental side.
It's like these 6 days, right? In the fitness culture. Yeah.
And what advice would you give someone who is maybe a yoga teacher or anything to do with the wellness world when they're thinking of coming to live here or start a business here?
I think in Marbella, we talked about being this little village. You know, in the little villages, connections are so important. So one piece of advice is get in contact with people that could, you know, support your wellness journey.
Like you.
Like me, yes. And get help, especially like when they are new graduated yoga teachers. Very often I see the mistake that they don't get the help on the business side and they are trying to do it all on their own, or they are not doing it at all sometimes. And if you want to dedicate yourself to this, you need either knowledge or either help from the business side, because otherwise you are just a practitioner that is kind of trying, but you need a management, right? You need someone to manage your actions. So get help, and connections is the basic piece of advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And last question for you. If your legacy was one sentence, then what would it be?
Everything is impermanent. That's a little bit my mantra, and I like to. I even have a hat that I put impermanent on it. It's done by dear friend from Madrid. But I wanted to get a tattoo impermanent. So for me, that everything is impermanent. It's something that I learned through a really profound meditation when I did my meditation teacher training. And since then, I always come back to it in the good times and in the bad times. In the good times, it reminds me that nothing, not even this happy moment, it's something that will last forever. Like, cherish it and enjoy it as much as possible. And many times my son is reminding me to that, that this moment with him will never come back in the exact same way ever. Like, I better enjoy it. And also the bad times. Like, there is nothing so bad that can last forever. A bad day, it's a bad day. Tomorrow, it's another day. A bad chapter in your life, it's a bad chapter. It doesn't tell who you are in reality. It's more the actions that you take you out from that chapter. So anything or everything, it's impermanent. That we are always, if we would act with that in mind, I think we would be much more connected to ourselves and more true, or acting more with consciousness and awareness rather than from the automatic. Like, oh my God, I'm stressed. You are stressed, but this moment, it's also like so beautiful. You are growing, perhaps, your business. You are expanding. You
seeing
are
the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think our grandmas used to say that. They said, "This too shall pass." You know, it's like whatever you're going through, heartbreak and all that, this too shall pass. Like, this is just a moment. But of course, when you're in the moment, it's just, I think the emotions are so strong. in that moment, because I've been through hard times and this the emotion is so strong. But when you somehow get to, like, how do you say, like, take yourself away from that emotion a little bit, that we are not the emotion, it's just an emotion coming through.
Yeah.
Then that
like
has
a
helped
wave.
me. Yeah, it's just
It's
an
a
emotional wave, but it will go through. Like I said, tomorrow you wake up, you might be in another mood already.
Yeah.
Especially us women going through hormones, you know.
Definitely.
You're really like, oh my God, yeah. Yesterday I was thinking but I don't want to go out, and today I'm like, yeah, I could see friends. So I just think like, not just identifying ourselves with the emotions. Like that has helped me a lot. That it's just an emotion that this is not
That
me.
will pass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lovely mantra.
Thank you.
And I don't know, anything else you would like to say or share, or is there something we haven't talked about? Because I feel like we could talk for hours, and I'd love to, but
No,
I
I
don't know.
think
Maybe
in
there's
general,
something else.
what I would like to highlight is this amazing change that Marbella is going through. That, as you said, that we are more and more the people that are leaning into healthy choices, rather if it's food choices, if it's training and taking care of your body, if it's more, inner work. I think we are more and more both practitioners and people interested that are supporting this community to grow. And I think it's really beautiful. And I would like to just have this little ending with this little thought, because it's just amazing that we are witnessing the growth of Marbella wellness community.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning, I'm sure.
Exactly.
So anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
also
for coming,
having me.
and thank you everyone for watching. And if you're interested in coming to Nicole's classes, she gives classes here, and of course I will link her Instagram and your website so people can maybe get in touch with you if you're interested.
Yeah.
For any kind of reasons, you are also mentoring others and helping businesses. So feel free to contact Nicole. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like and share if you love this space that we are creating. And thank you also Boho Club for hosting us. And please check out their amazing new wellness area with infrared saunas and gym and all these beautiful treatments and classes.
And the biohacking beds.
And I love the beds. Yeah, the beds are amazing. Like
they
meditation
are really
beds.
meditative. Yeah,
I love
they are
that.
really meditative.
So don't say you don't have time. Just come here, spend an hour.
It's only 20 minutes on the beds. You are already like feeling amazing.
But you already feel like you've been away somewhere. Like it's really, sometimes all we need is 20 minutes.
Honestly.
Yeah. So anyway,
I really enjoy teaching here and being part of.
It has very good energy
community.
This place.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
You.
Thank you for listening
and say namaste.
for having me. Namaste.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Sandon, a family-run furniture company with a brand new flagship store in Forum Marbella.